Welcome to Don't You Two Read, a podcast where two sisters talk about all things books.
We're just two girls who found ourselves texting about books on a daily basis and thought, why not turn on a mic?
We'll be talking about our recent reads, a weekly bookish topic, and what we're looking forward to reading next.
So grab a cup of coffee and maybe even a snack and be prepared to take down your TBR and add a lot to it as we talk all things books.
I'm Hilary, a mom in Oklahoma, and I am ready to be hurt again.
And I'm Hannah, a stay-at-home mom in Texas, and I have been reading like a snail.
This is episode 30, and hi, we're so glad that you're here. Today, we're going to be talking about new releases that are coming out in 2025 that we are hopeful about. And so our plan is to read these books, and then at the end of the year, or when we finish them, come back and then update you guys, and which is like alludes to my statement, because I think great expectations kind of lead to poor reads sometimes. So I'm a little nervous. But before that, Hannah, how are you?
I'm good. I've been reading slow. But see, part of me is curious if I'm reading slow or if it just feels slow because I'm in the middle of Queen of Shadows. I don't realize how big it is because I'm reading it on my Kindle, but I think it's almost 700 pages.
Yeah.
So I may not be reading super slow. Maybe it's just a big book.
That's why sometimes I like a paper book so you can see
Yeah.
like how much you've read, how much you have to go and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. How have you been?
We've been fine. I know I put that, I don't know if you saw that on the docket. It's coming up of reading while sick. And I think that's going to be a good topic. I thought it would be a good time to do it now because it has just been a doozy for my family and then you guys or you.
Yeah.
I think everyone. I think January and hopefully February is not, but January is just like the season of illness. So, so I haven't been sick, thankfully, very much, but Noelle is quite a bit. So that is, I thought I would get a ton of reading done because it's not me that's sick, but not necessarily. I feel like I'm her slave right now. And so I haven't been reading very well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that too. We have been domino sick, where I think someone has been sick since December. Like since before Christmas, somebody in my family it's just got us all at different points. But thankfully, I think I'm the last one, and it seems like I'm about to be done. So that's good. Knock on wood.
Yeah, survive the wave.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess let's just get into our recent reads and then we will get into our topic. So, what is your first book?
Okay, for my first book, I brought Bounty Hunter by Kaylee Jarvis. So this is a indie debut novel. Let's just get into it. Okay, a king desperate to save his kingdom in a search of a woman doing everything she can to never be found. Vera is a black tulip. She is feared, hated, and in hiding. She masquerades behind the magic of other factions while taking all sorts of jobs to survive, and bounty hunting is one of them. Vera told herself she would never take another Class A contract, but high risk means high reward, and suddenly Vera needs a large sum of money. Now she's lost in the forest after arresting a bounty that she's more attracted to than she should be. Even worse, he's asking questions about the black tulips and trying to convince Vera that he's not the criminal that she thinks that he is. Little does Vera know that the bounty she's arrested is actually a high king who is searching for a black tulip in order to restore magic to the kingdom. The black tulips have all gone into hiding after being hunted by the kings long ago. Of course, he doesn't know that the woman who has captured him is also the very woman that he has been searching for. How will this high king save his kingdom with Vera in the way? And how will Vera keep her secrets and her heart to herself along the journey? So, this is book one. I don't know how many books this is going to be because It doesn't say. It just says book one in a series. But I know that the author is working on book two and it's coming out this year. So I'm really excited about book two because this one gets the setup of the whole plot going. And, you have the world building, you have like the magic system introduced. I think there's five different factions. So different types of magic, different things. And yeah, so then you have the king, but then she doesn't know that he's the king, and he just thinks that she's a bounty hunter. He doesn't know that she is a person. It's like a specific type of magic that is not allowed in the kingdom. And so he doesn't know that she's one of them. So I thought it was just really, really fun. I don't know, they got good banter, but they're very much enemies to lovers because she arrests him. So she doesn't like him. She thinks he's a criminal, and he is just like inconvenienced because he's on a mission and she is taking him away from the mission. So, yeah, I really loved it. I thought the magic system was interesting. It was not super complicated. So, if you're like intimidated by fantasy, then I think this is a nice place to start because it wasn't super dense how some fantasy can get. And there wasn't like a lot of crazy names or like crazy places. It wasn't super complicated to follow. I thought the tension was really good. I loved the characters. There's also a little bird, and the little bird is like a little animal companion. But like it sounds cheesy, but it actually worked. It was really cute.
I saw you had that sticker.
Yes, it's Rupee, and it's just the cutest little bird in this book. Rupee is not talking. It's very much a bird, but it was just really cute. I thought that was a fun little element that she threw in there. And then I just was impressed overall. Like the book, it's indie, and we've talked about this a lot, that sometimes indie can feel messy, for lack of better word, where
Unfinished, yeah.
yeah, where maybe steps are skipped. Maybe the cover doesn't look great. And that happens too. I run into indies all the time that I'm like, ugh, the cover's not good, but like I promise the book itself was really good.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I thought this one, like the cover looked really good to me. There was a map on the inside. The chapter headings had like little art pieces, and I mean, I think she did it. Like the book is beautiful, and it just seemed very well done. So I was very impressed for this being a debut indie novel. And the one thing I will say is that the way that I don't know if it's like the pacing or just like the way that the book ended, I feel like a lot of times in fantasy, you have a major cliffhanger moment where you're like at the edge of your seat and you can't, what's going to happen? And then it's over and they're like coming, coming next or whatever. And this one didn't really have that. Like we're kind of just on this journey, like we know where we're going, and then it's like, oh, okay, but the end, whatever, continuing in book two. So it didn't have like a major ending, which is good and bad. Like for me, it's good because I'm like, okay, like I feel okay. Like I read it and I'm okay waiting. But it threw me off. I think I was just expecting like, I don't know. Maybe I've been spoiled by other fantasies. But anyway, it just felt very anticlimactic, if that makes sense. I don't know. But overall, I really enjoyed it. The book as a whole. So if you enjoy the slowest of slow burns, an easy magic system, and closed door fantasy books, try this one. That's Bounty Hunter by Kaylee Jarvis.
That does sound good.
And it's not YA.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I didn't say that, but yes, it's not YA. It's specifically like an adult fantasy closed door, which I thought was fun.
Yeah, you don't see that very often.
No.
Okay. My next book is an arc. I told Hannah after I told Hannah after this, I was like, when will I learn? I just okay, I have very few arcs. Like I've said, less arcs all the time. And I request very, very few. So I will be in full disclosure, I did request one for Taylor Jenkins Reid, her new one coming out. Um because like I can't think of any book of hers that I've hated. I've liked all of them. Like she is one of Hannah's least favorite author. She's one of
Yeah.
my favorite authors. I've read all of them but one, I think. And I don't know why I haven't read that one. But anyway, so I requested hers. That's not this book, but I only have two arcs. So I'm very selective. And I've tried to only select arcs that I'm like, I think I'm really gonna like this, you know? So that one's one. I wasn't able to request Abby Jimenez's new book. That was another, but I think I'm just gonna buy that one. Either way, it doesn't matter. So that's why I would request something that I'm like, I think I'm gonna buy this, so let's just save me some money, not like I just need more books to read. So that's why I requested this. I thought I was gonna love this book, and I didn't at all. So this book is All Better Now by Neal Shusterman. So
Oh.
whenever this airs, I wanted to bring it now because I think if I have this correct, when this episode airs, this book will come out tomorrow in the
Mm.
real world time. So I wanted to get it out just to, in case anyone is listening, I wanted to warn you guys about this book just in case. Okay, so I requested this book because I loved his book Scythe, which I did bring to the show quite a while ago. So that's why I requested it because I had really high hopes and I was very excited about it. So I'm going to read a little bit of the description from the publisher. It says this is a young adult thriller and it's about a world where happiness becomes contagious and the teens caught in the conspiracy by the powers that be to bring back discontent. So, an unprecedented condition is on the rise. It behaves like a virus, with the first symptom being a fever, but those who contract it experience long term effects that no one has ever seen, which is utter contentment. Soon after infection, people find the stress, depression, greed, and other negative feelings that used to weigh them down are gone. Almost everyone revels in this mass unburdening, but people in power who depend on malcontents tuning into their broadcasts prey on the insecure to sell their products and convince people that they need more, new, faster, better everything. No, this state of being is bad for business. Soon, campaigns start up convincing people that they're happy all the time is dangerous. There's even a vaccine developed to rid people of their inner peace and get them back to normal because surely without anger or jealousy as motivators, productivity will grind to a halt and the world will be thrown into chaos. It's nearly impossible to determine the truth when everyone with a platform is pushing their own agendas and two teens with very different backgrounds who've had their lives upended in different ways by the virus find themselves enmeshed in the center of a dangerous power play. So basically, this is a book about a virus and a pandemic, and it is spreading through the world. It is in current times after COVID. That
Mm.
has also happened. So it's like dystopian, I would say. And I don't think the description did a great. I thought it did. It didn't describe this part. Either you get the virus and you either die, or if you survive, you are this like in this state of total contentment to the point of it could be dangerous because you have like no self-preservation at all. So we see a lot of issues popping up like in military and war and politics and obviously like in sales. Anyway, I thought it sounded interesting, but I had several issues with it. So, one, this book was about 550 pages, and I think it could have easily been 200 pages shorter, at least. So, the author kept introducing new characters randomly throughout the entire book, like a chapter
Mm.
of their perspective, and we only saw them once and then never again. They were just all over the world, like a snippet of their story. I hated that. I think he used them to show what was going on in the world, but
Mhm.
I felt like it could have been done differently. Like maybe use the main characters we already had, or maybe add some mixed media. Like I was thinking like a newspaper clip or a podcast episode. I don't know, something to show that a snippet. But this, I think that's what made the book way too long because we'd have like chunks of like 10 pages here, 10 pages here. It just made the book so long. Secondly, the book started interesting enough. I was hooked. Like I read 30 something percent in one sitting on the couch. And then after a while, though, I thought we were getting close to the end, and then we were only halfway. So that's a horrible feeling. and the rest was just drudgery. I kept telling my husband, like, oh my God, I just don't want to read this book anymore. I just want it to be over. And he's like, stop, just stop. And like I said, with arcs, I kind of feel like this obligation to finish it unless, I don't know, like honestly, unless something like so vile happens. It's very rare. I don't know if I've ever DNF'd an arc before, but I don't like to do it. And so that's when I was like, when am I going to learn? Like, I don't know. I should have DNF'd it, honestly, because NetGalley has that option. But okay. And then lastly, none of these characters were likable or even understandable. We see one character who's actively trying to spread this virus, knowing that 1 in 25 people will die. And it's just gross. I guess it's supposed to be gross, but I'm not truly sure because he wasn't really presented like a villain. He was the protagonist. So the villains were the ones trying to stop the virus. It was just very weird.
How is he like he's spreading the happiness virus?
Yeah, so he survives and he's like, everyone should have this. This is going to be amazing.
How is he spreading it? By being happy?
It's airborne. No, it's like an airborne virus. So he just has to be like breathe around people, be
Hmm.
around people. And he's like, everyone should experience what I have.
Well, because he's probably thinking people should be happy.
Yes, he's not in his right mind anymore, basically.
Oh no.
I no, and I'm like that meme. Sounds good, doesn't work. This just didn't work. This was just a flop. I know that this will be on my list of the end of the year already. I'm like day one, yeah, just already for the disappointment. Okay, so I had other issues, but they're spoilery, so I'm not gonna share it on here. I'll tell Hannah later because I know you're not going to read this. I would just totally skip this one if I'm being honest for everyone. If you like dystopian and you're looking for something like that, I would recommend Scythe by the same author. I loved that book. And then if you haven't read Divergent, I'm sure most people have, but if you haven't, that one, pick up Divergent.
Did you see Books by Grace said
Yes, I did.
that
The
she's like,
dystopian.
yeah, that she's convinced that dystopian is like gonna make a comeback this year.
Yes,
But she's probably right.
we were just talking about this though, right?
Yeah, yeah,
How I was like, I'm here for this.
yeah.
I'm here for the dystopian vibes. That's why I was excited about it. But it was just, and I think also after, I'm not against like COVID in a storyline or anything, but I think it does have to be right. And I think after experiencing that and then another pandemic type of thing and then purposely spreading a virus, I don't know. The only person that would do that is like a sociopath. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It
I
was
mean,
just a
okay.
flop.
I have always felt this is like a side note, but like viruses creep me out.
Yeah.
And so like movies, anything that is about that, because I know there's many movies and there's books and stuff, I am like, no. 100% no. Josh wants to
Yeah.
watch them. I'm like, no, it creeps me out. And then yeah, too soon. We had that whole no. No thanks. The only one that I loved that was even related to that was 56 Days, and that was not it
It's
wasn't
different.
creepy like that. Yeah.
That's a backstory. It's
But
not
I
about
don't
that.
want no pandemic. However, the happiness sounds, it just sounds dumb. I don't know.
I know. I know. I thought it sounded interesting. And then I was trying to tell Taylor what the book is about. And as I was talking about it, I was like, you know what? This sounds like more dumb and more dumb the more I'm talking about it. So, and
Yeah.
he's just like staring at me blankly. And I'm like,
You're like, never
I
mind.
don't, I honestly got distracted by the author.
Yeah,
And
yeah, because
that's it.
that would happen. Like if you loved the other books by him,
Yeah, like the Scythe was like a 5 star.
you're like, I trusted you and you failed me.
Yeah, it was a total fail.
So who should read that, Hillary?
No one, I said. Yeah, I don't recommend this to anyone. That's All Better Now by Neal Shusterman.
Okay. I
Okay,
tried,
what is your
guys.
second
I tried.
book?
Okay, the second book that I am bringing is The Lodge by Kayla Olson.
Oh, I've seen this a lot online.
This book just came out this month, and the cover is
She's from
very
here,
cute.
Hannah.
Oh, from Oklahoma.
I guess she visited the bookstore by my house.
Oh, okay, guys. Okay, let's just start baby steps. Let's read the synopsis. Okay. Alex Morgan got her big break as the ghostwriter of a memoir by Sebastian Green, a former member of the boy band True North. When Sebastian offers her a penthouse at a luxurious resort in Vermont, Alex jumps at the chance to work far away from her noisy, cramped apartment. Her career as an entertainment journalist has been building towards this dream job. Alex used to cover the band True North, and she was one of the last people to interview former frontman Jet Beckett before he mysteriously disappeared. As she combs through her clients' voice memos, the specter of the missing lead singer remains, and fans are desperate to know the full story. But while Alex is working hard during her stay at the lodge, she also has time for some fun at this glamorous resort, where she begins ski lessons with a handsome instructor named Tyler. As Alex and Tyler fall in love on the slopes, Alex's work takes a complicated turn, and the mystery of True North's downfall may be hers to solve. Okay, if that sounded like there was a lot of plot elements going on, that's because there are a lot of plot elements going on. So you have the band True North, which I would just envision like One Direction. It's a boy band, and the boy band we know that they have lots of conflict, and one of them mysteriously goes missing. So that's part of the story. And then you have the part of the story where Alex, she is the entertainment journalist. She's writing a memoir for one of the guys that's in the band. So she's doing that. But then also, she's at the ski resort and she's getting ski lessons with Tyler and she's getting to know Tyler. So when I was reading the book, it felt like different directions. And I thought that was fun at first. So I will say that. At first, I thought, okay, it started really well, in my opinion. The setting, like, that is where I think that this book thrived. The way that the author wrote the setting for like the snow and the skiing, and there were different winter, because it's not Christmas, it's winter. There are different winter activities at the ski lodge. And I thought that she did those scenes and those elements to me were 10 out of 10. She really made me feel like I was in a ski lodge in Vermont. I thought she did that perfectly. So the setting was great, but like the characters, the dynamics, the relationships, I felt like that is where this book, for me personally, lost all of the steam. I I've almost felt like the mystery was more intriguing to me than the romance, but I couldn't figure out what exactly what was the most important plot? Was it the mystery? Was it the romance? What was it, like her family? Because there was family drama too. There was friendship drama. There was like just so many different things. And in some ways I thought, if I read this book when I was like 14, then I think it could be fun. Like if it was written a little bit differently for like a teenage audience, I almost think it would have flown better because it was just like wild. Things that did not feel realistic to me. Like the band member going missing for I don't remember how many years. For years, 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 years. And they're like, we don't know. We don't know where he went. Super casual, just like we don't know where he went. I'm like, was there police involved? A man goes missing. What is going on here? So I don't know. Anyway, this book struggle. I struggled. And then something else. I don't know if this was because I had an early copy. I don't know. So I don't know. But like the text messaging in this book was so confusing for me. Sometimes it was in a bubble, which was what I would expect. And then other times it was written like a sentence. It was really hard to tell. Is she thinking this? Is she saying this? Is she texting this? Because it wasn't differentiated. And so certain times in the middle of a paragraph, it would be like, oh, she texted that. And I'm like, where? I don't know, guys. I don't know. I really struggled here. The winning element is the winter settings and all of the cute winter activities. But other than that, this it was not great for me personally. But I have seen a lot of people who loved it. So you can go see other reviews before you make your final call. If you enjoy a cozy winter ski resort setting with a light romance, a lot of drama, and a handful of unlikable characters, try this one. That's The Lodge by Kayla Olson.
Dang, we're not starting off very well. Okay, my second book is Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Falling in Love by Is It Self-Care?
You read it?
Yes.
When?
I've been waiting to tell you until we recorded.
You dirty little sneak.
It was the first book I read this year before. I think I started it before New Year, right before New Year, and then
Oh,
finished it. Yeah.
when
So
I
I've been,
was there. Hmm.
yeah, probably right when you left.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm ready. I'm scared.
Okay. So I know Hannah already talked about this one, so I'll keep it brief. I didn't tell her I was going to read it because, not because of any reason other than I was just waiting for the reaction here. There are so many times I was going to text her, I was like,
I'll need to do a video clip for our
yeah, just
Instagram.
like, Ricky Ricardo. Just like, what?
Oh my God.
Okay. This is fanfic and it's very long. So I want to say, obviously, this is not on paper. So if it was, I want to say it's like 1,000 pages, maybe, right? Yeah,
I don't
this is
know.
it's very long. I
Oh my
think
God.
on my Kindle it was 1,000 something pages, maybe 1,200.
Wow.
I don't know, but I think maybe on paper printed it was like 700
Mm.
something. It's thick, guys, huge. So that's very long, but I loved every minute of it. This is set in the Harry Potter universe after Deathly Hallows. So everyone is alive, thankfully, and Draco is now a super successful R, and Hermione is an accomplished researcher and professor. Hang on. Hermione is on the verge of a major breakthrough in her research, and it is top secret, but she is in danger because someone wants her stopped. And that's where Draco comes in. He's assigned to protect her at all costs, which is totally fine, except that they both hate each other. So I absolutely loved all the references to the original books. This was long, but I didn't feel it. I loved all the scenes, the banter, the yearning. He falls first and hard. So this whole book, interestingly enough, is like from Draco's perspective, all
Mm.
of it. The whole thing. It's not from Hermione's perspective. Usually you see like a romance or stuff like this from a girl's perspective, and it's not. We're following Draco the whole time. Uh, so I like that. It was something different. This fits the giggling and kicking my feet saying perfectly. The author does mark where the book becomes open door, and it is. So she marks it at the beginning of the chapter. I caught part of it because it's not the whole chapter is not open door. It's a portion of the chapter. So the chapter doesn't start out with anything. So I caught some of it, and my note says, "Wow, guys, it is very steamy." So just go ahead and listen to the author and skip it if you don't want to have some very uncomfy scenes. So it was wild. The open door stuff was, I don't know, whatever. It's whatever. It was uncomfy, but I skipped as much of it as I could. Once I saw where it was headed, I was like, okay, I feel uncomfortable, and skipped to the end of the chapter. Oh, she shows the look a little squiggle, and she's like, when you get to the squiggle, you can pick up after that. And it was totally fine. You're not going to miss anything major. And the rest of the story was so, so good. I didn't even take away any stars because of that. And she warned you, so I don't know how much you can complain. So I absolutely love this. I hate to say it, but I think I liked it better than Manacled just because I love Manacled as well. But I think I like that everyone lived through this. So that was just like a happier feeling. It made me like happy because both books, the characters, like, you're rooting for them both and like you're happy for them both when they're together. But I didn't it's just different. I've
Yeah.
enjoyed feeling happy for them instead of like, wow, my heart feels so sad for the stuff you're having to go through. What was I going to say? Oh, this is romance, but it was definitely, I don't know. I think I would want to say it's like magic, like magical romance a lot. It leans heavily into the magic, into
Mm-hmm.
the fantasy part of it. So
Mm-hmm.
Lots of magic, lots of magical Harry Potter things, and we see all the side characters, so I love that. So, yeah, that's Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Falling in Love by Is This Self-Care?
I am so happy. I remember feeling like I did not do that justice or I did not explain that well. Uh, so yeah, I'm so happy. I love hearing about it from someone else too because I have not known anybody else who has read it. So
I've been meaning to for a long time. I just hadn't, because I think because it's so long and
yeah.
because I read Manacled and I didn't want to just jump right into it. So I'm glad I waited. But Hannah and I were talking about how the author, I didn't write down her name.
Bridget
She,
Knightley.
okay, she has a new book coming out this year, and it is, we talked about it, I think, in the last episode. It is her published work based off of this story. So I know you're going to read it, I think. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm very curious to
It's a duology, I think.
see,
I,
probably because it's so big.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's on my list for anticipated books.
Okay. Okay, so let's just jump into it then. Okay, so let's get into the 2025 hopefuls, the new releases that we're most excited to read. So, what was your first book?
The first one that came to my mind is Rebel Witch, which makes sense because book one, Heartless Hunter, was my favorite of last year. So it makes sense that book two is my most excited book for this year.
Yes, obviously that's on my list too. I have actually pre-ordered it. I had it pre-ordered. I want to say either before I finished Heartless Hunter or as soon as I finished it. It is on my list already. It is hopefully will be at my house on the day of release. I'm very excited. I think you said you're going to reread Heartless Hunter before. Is that your plan?
I do plan to, yeah. Which means I need to get on that soon.
Did you pre-order it or are you just going to do the library?
I didn't pre-order it, but I might buy it. If, like, honestly, I might. We'll see. We'll see how the timing works out, but I might just like buy the ebook or something.
Yeah, yeah, because some of these holds are getting, like I was sending you screenshots, are getting outrageous. If you don't,
Yeah.
it's like if you don't get your hold in, I don't even know how early. Just forget it. If a book is going to be super popular, just I feel like at this point, if you want to read it soon, you have to just buy it. And if
Yeah.
unless you don't care.
Yeah, unless you're willing to wait. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
like right now, Rebel Witch at my library is 100 people are in line for it, which is not as bad as I thought, but that's still pretty bad.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Okay, that was also on my list, obviously, Rebel Witch. So I have two for January that I are coming out. So on the list ish, I guess. I feel like this is pointless to say. I have Onyx Storm comes out next week, or sorry, not for you guys, it's already been out. It is coming out. Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. I feel like it is, I told Hannah that it's probably like the biggest book of the year now.
Yeah.
I feel like it has overtaken um Akatar almost. It's wild how big it is. I
Mhm.
do plan to read it. I think like Hannah said, I think I might read it on my Kindle though.
Yeah, are you reading it when it comes out, or are you actually gonna wait for that 1,000 people line?
No, I think I'll read it before the yeah, I was showing Hannah the hold is like there's like 1,600 people in line. I mean, it's outrageous. No way. I will not. That's
Yeah.
too long. Um oh, here's the contingency. I do plan to read it because book 2 was like a huge cliffhanger, insane.
Hmm.
If I hear not that it's open door, which first of all, I mean, I don't want to spoil anything. I I don't know. I after book 2, I don't see how there's going to be a lot of romance in this book. I feel like it has to be a lot of war and battle, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of bad that happen. Um, However, if I find out it is just like the trashiest book, and then I'm not going to read it. Um, Obviously, but other than that, I do want to see how it continues. I'm curious to see like how long the series is going to go. I don't know.
Yeah, I
So,
was wondering that too. The
yeah.
fact that she hasn't said, I'm like, does she know? Or is she just gonna keep this going? Because you know, like she could probably keep it going for a while. But
Yeah, I think she had book 1 and 2 done already. Like when she published book 1, she had book 2 ready to go.
oh,
But book 2 was not as good as book 1, I will say.
yeah, everybody said that it was rushed, like that because didn't they come out very close
Mhm.
together?
Like
Yeah,
6 months.
yeah, and I remember this, like the sprayed edges were messed up, and people were saying that it was because they rushed it, and yeah,
Yeah.
it's all coming back.
This one wasn't. So, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I still think Rebecca Yarros I think as of now, like hopefully there'll be others, but right now I think she's still the best at this type of book. Like this idea of accessible like war college, dragons. Like I think she just I don't know, she does a really good job at talking about war and dragons, that type of setting where at least the ones I've read, like they're just not as good. Um,
Yeah.
Obviously, I think there are probably better fantasy books, better written for sure, but maybe not with romance in it.
Yeah.
So
I thought for sure, like book one, I loved it. I know everybody has different taste, but it is
it's fun.
interesting.
It's
It's
fun.
interesting when people are like, "Oh, it's absolutely the worst." And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, it could just not be your style of like if
I
you don't like fantasy, you know.
I'll be honest, I think I'm gonna have to bring some rereads as books next or coming up because I'm doing rereads of stuff. So it's just like Hannah said, New Year, new us. We're just gonna
Are you
bring what
gonna
we
bring Fourth Wing?
I might.
You
And my
should.
thing is because been listening to it on graphic audio.
Oh,
So that's a completely new experience for me. So I have
yeah.
thoughts and it's on Hoopla. So I have thoughts of it. So it's the first graphic audio and it's 2 years later. So it's like a different version of me that's listening. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
than I was over 2 years ago or whatever. So
Mhm.
yeah, so I thought that would be kind of
Yeah,
interesting
you
for
should.
me.
You should because I was thinking about bringing Throne of Glass, like book
Yeah,
one, because I don't want to bring like book five, you know. But yeah, because I'm rereading a lot too. Um, but yes, I'm not surprised that's on your list. I think that's
on
like
everyone's.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any other books in January?
No, no January.
I have one more in January.
Okay. Yeah, let's just do that. Okay, so go ahead with your January.
Okay, so my next one in January is The Favorites by Layne Fargo. I've been seeing, I saw this cover a lot and then I was like, no, I'm not really interested. Hannah and I were talking. I thought it was like a super smutty book. I don't know. I think I misunderstood the cover. I thought they were like in this passionate embrace.
Oh,
And I don't
yes.
know. Like, I don't know. Like this,
It
I
does.
thought it
It
was like
looks
this
gross.
intimate embrace, like in the throes of passion,
Yes, I
basically.
did too.
Everyone's fully clothed, to be clear, but it just looks like that. But whenever you find out the book's about ice skating, figure skaters, and then you look, you're like, oh, I see it. I see the costume. I see the skate. It's a good cover, I will say, but I misunderstood. I thought it was like this
I
super
know.
sexy novel. It's apparently not. Someone that in my book club, she read it. She said it was Closed Door or Fade to Black. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that. And a lot of people are saying it's very similar to Daisy Jones and the Six, like that interview style.
Mm.
So, um, but they're saying it's very similar to Taylor Jenkins Reid. So for me, that means I'm like, I need to read it right now. Daisy Jones is one of my favorite books. So I'm going to try to read that as soon as I can.
My book club is plotting to pick that, so
Ah, I'm happy. I know it's like something you would not gravitate towards.
no. Well, literally when someone said that, like I've seen multiple people say that it is like Daisy Jones or like Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I know she's not for you, but she's great for a book
No.
club.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that is true. I agree with that. Okay, so that was January, and then February, yeah, I jumped. Rebel Witch is February.
yeah.
But February, and then you have anything else for February?
Yes.
Okay.
My next, me again, me again. uh, I have this one's kind of a random one. I wanted to pick also something that not everyone has heard about. I hadn't heard about this until some girls in my book club said they're interested in it. This is The Rose Bargain by Sarah Peyton Smith. Have you heard about this one?
No.
Okay, let me look it up.
I'm looking it up right now. The Rose Bargain by who? Oh, I see it instantly come up.
It's a really pretty cover, I will say that. And it says it is The Cruel Prince meets The Selection in this captivating duology opener brimming with heart-pounding romance, vicious competition, and beautiful cruel fae. And then from this author. So it's like a competition. Um, but it says like for fans of Adeline Grace, who wrote Belladonna, Stephanie Garber. I don't know. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know, but I knew like The Selection I really enjoyed, and I always kind of love a bachelor style book. I don't know, I kind of like that. And
Yeah.
so fantasy bachelor, I don't know. I don't have a ton of high hopes, but I am excited to read it. So you
Yeah.
never know.
Okay. For me, I have several in March. So, Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. I'm excited.
That's on my list too. That one I may have to buy too.
Yes, I have the entire series. I got a box set for Christmas, and so
Oh,
I do plan to buy that one because
and
because
it's
I
Haymitch's story.
I know, which
Ah,
because I when I reread the series, I was saying this. I have it on my stories highlights saved of my journey rereading Hunger Games, and I said it that I mean, like if this is for me, I said I wanted Haymitch's Games, a full book, and so I just feel like Suzanne heard me. Yeah, thank you, Suzanne. Apparently everybody was thinking it, and this is like giving the people what we want. Again, I'm like Stephanie Meyer. Can you please take notes? Anyway, I digress. So that's one of my March, and then another March. I have The Shadow Bride, which is by Shelby Mahurin. This is book two for the Scarlet Veil that Hilary has yet to read.
I'm excited though because now then I can at least go
Yes,
into it and have it right there.
because I wanted to reread that one also. So I have Heartless Hunter
Yeah.
and Scarlet Veil on my list, not because I feel like I have to reread them,
Wait,
but
what is the second
because
one called?
The Shadow Bride.
Okay.
And the covers are really cool. And this is a duology, which I think duologies are my favorite vibe at this
Yes,
point.
The Rose Bargain is a duology.
Yeah, I'm like you're just one and
It's the
two and
season of it. Yeah.
you're excited and you don't really have like that middle filler weird book. I don't know. I like a duology a
Hmm.
lot. And then my last March was what was my Leah Brunner. So Leah Brunner is releasing book 4 of her hockey series, which we all know I love. This one is Secret or Shut Out. And yeah, it's book 4. So I'm very excited. I don't know. I'm almost wondering if this is her last one for the hockey series. I think it is her last one. But anyway, all this is a solid series for me. All of the hockey ones, I think I rated 5 stars because I just feel like she did all of them so well. So I'm very excited for that one also.
Okay. That was The Sunrise on the Reaping was my March book as well. That's what I had for that one. Okay, so for April, I have Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. I mean, I've already went on and on about this one. I am very, very excited. I tried to get an arc. I wouldn't give myself an arc if I were them either. So I understand. I will read it either way. I will get my hands on it, whether I have to go to Barnes and Noble or Target or like I will not wait for Pango on this one. No. Like I just and I want to have a paper, I think. I don't know.
It
So,
is very pretty. The cover is very
you know
pretty.
what I don't like about it though
What?
is like her and Emily Henry, which I like Emily Henry's writing. I'm hit or miss on her plots like and stuff, but I do love her writing. But both of them, their new releases are releasing in hardbacks now. And I think that's
Yeah.
interesting for romance. You don't see that a lot, but
Yeah.
I've been saying, I said the last time, I think, like Abby, it's almost like she's transitioning from romance author to contemporary fiction author. So I don't know if that's part of it, like that her books are now being published in hardback initially. Like
Yeah.
that's how they're coming out, and that's usually what you'd see like in different genres. Not, I don't feel like you see a lot of romance, right, with a
No,
hardback. But I
no.
don't I don't love hardbacks. Like, and I don't love reading hardbacks. I love
Mm.
reading paperbacks personally. Um,
I say that too, but like, okay, if a hardback is not huge, like Crescent City, like
oh yeah, hurts your hands.
if it's a manageable size, it's kind of nice because it just flops down,
Hmm.
So like, I don't
But they're
know.
expensive. They're
Yeah,
like
that
30
is true.
something dollars.
And I hear that the fancy books are about to get even more expensive
Oh,
because of tariffs.
oh,
Yeah. Anyway,
at least we're
yeah.
not in Canada. Like you Canadians, man,
God
I
bless.
feel for you. Yeah.
So, okay, so that one is April. I have an April too. The Geographer's Map to Romance. This is by India Holton, and I honestly like I will read anything that India writes because she's just like she's very her writing is very zany and it's like historical feeling. It's very comedic. It's very unique. I have not stumbled across anything else that gives me her feelings. This is book two. I feel like everything I've mentioned is like book two. She has a Loves Academic series. They're like standalone romances. And so this one is going to involve like a geographer and apparently there's like tornadoes or I don't know what, something wild, but I'm excited. That one is April also.
Okay, I don't have anything for May.
Oh, May. I think it's May. I could be wrong, but Erin Phillips, her book is on my list.
Oh,
The Betrayal of Eden. I think it comes out
finally.
in May. I don't know exactly what day because I know she has said it's coming in the spring. So I think it's in May. I could be wrong, but you'll hear about it. So I'm very excited for that. And so that one is inspired. It's like a retelling, reimagining of The Count of Monte Cristo, which I love the movies. And now I've watched two of the versions, but I love the two movies I've seen of that. And we are currently reading the book. So I'm excited for
That's a
this.
huge book.
It is really, yeah,
Okay, are you liking it? Because I guess will you bring it to the show?
yes, I
Okay, then
plan
I'll
to.
just wait. I'll wait.
Yeah, I plan to.
Okay,
Yes.
I know a podcaster I listen to, she swears like that is her all-time favorite book of all time, but it is so huge, which is funny coming from me. I know that's rich
Okay,
coming from me saying
but
it's big, but
But there's the abridged and there's unabridged, and that apparently is a huge debate amongst the book people. So I am reading the abridged, and
oh,
I will get into all the reasons why whenever I bring it, but there were a lot of reasons why I went that route. But anyway, yeah, but it is still big. The abridged is still, I think, almost 600 pages. So
oh, well, the unabridged right here is like
it's
1300.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's over 1,000, well over 1,000.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so I have one for June. It is Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston. I I mean, I know I did not love her the novel love story. However, I still loved her other two books, The Dead Romantics and 7 Year Slip. I love them. Novel love story had a lot of flaws. I think the plot idea, I loved that idea. So I'm not swearing off Ashley Poston by any means. So I this book is coming out in the summer. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I definitely want to read it. I'm excited. I don't know if I'll buy this one. I don't think I'm going to buy it because I've been hurt and I think I will borrow this from a library.
She's the one who wrote The Dead Romantics, right?
Yeah.
That's the only one I've read from her.
Yeah, you should read the other one.
I know, I need to try it. Okay, so what was that? June? Do you have anything else? July?
I don't have anything for July through September.
Okay, so July is The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy by Bridget Knightley. That's the one we were just talking about, the Draco fanfic that is now being like altered and going to be traditionally published. I'm excited to see what she does with it. I'm curious.
Yeah, how it
Um,
is without the Harry Potter element. I don't
yeah.
know.
I applied for an
Hey,
ARC and I won't be getting it.
we need to just do a whole episode of fanfics and like fanfic
The ones
published
that, yeah,
books.
yeah. I know. After we get this
One I
experience.
read, Hannah. Side note, you can cut this out if you want, but you'll probably keep it in because like the other others. the book that I read by Julie Soto that I said I liked, but it was
Yeah.
super steamy, that was fanfic.
Yeah,
It,
you
it
didn't
was
know Kylo Ren, right?
yeah, and
See,
I would have had no clue because it was about music and like so she totally changed it, but it was interesting that I didn't know until after. I was like, what the heck?
that is
So it's
crazy.
possible. It's possible.
Okay, let's see. That was
Okay,
July, August. Do you have August?
no.
Okay, The Blonde Who Came In from the Cold. That is a long title. This is by Allie Carter. This is book 2 following the blonde identity, which I loved. It's like a spy rom-com kind of, and I'm really this one is high up on my list of hopeful for this year.
Okay, so I have one more for October. This one's like a long shot, but I'm excited. It's Home for Christmas by Cleopatra Margot.
Oh yeah.
She barely mentioned it. Like she just released the title and like the blurb and stuff. I'm excited. It looks really cute. Like obviously a Christmas novel, but it's about a detective and a detective single dad and this lady and she has all these like mood boards. I don't know how to describe it. I'm sorry. I know probably some authors are shouting at me what it's called, but um
Yeah, like
she
the
had like some
aesthetics.
pictures, yeah, that show what it's like and it just looked really wholesome and yeah, like the investigator detective part I thought that was interesting. Is she married to a police officer?
No, but I want to know what her connection is because
She
I've
has
read
like pictures.
I've
Yeah.
read a bunch of books by her, and several of them, like one of them did have a detective, or I don't know, something. I think it was a detective already, and then another one was just like a law enforcement officer. So like
Yeah.
she puts
Well, her
them in
picture
many
was
of
in
her
front of a
books.
police car, and I don't know anyone that would do that without like knowing them.
I wonder
So,
if she has like a relative or something.
yeah. So I'm excited. I think I'm hopeful.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one too. Okay. The last three are indies and they are supposed to come out in 2025. I don't have a date because they indies are kind of like that. You don't really know exactly when until, closer. But Lindsay Cord, she's an indie author that I have really enjoyed in the past. So she's automatically like on my lookout list and she has a book coming out this year titled Not What You'd Expect. So I'm excited for that one. And then book 2 by Kaylee Jarvis, the one I brought today, Bounty Hunter. She has book 2, Queen of the Night, and that one will be coming out this year. And then the last one I have is book 2 for In the Wake of the Wicked by V.B. Lacey, which I have brought recently to the podcast and I loved it also. So those two are all those were supposed to come out this year. I'm really excited. I was happy because whenever I read a fantasy book and then it's not complete, like you have to wait. And that is so hard. Like I honestly, I have been trying to look at release dates because I don't want to just start like too many series that are not completed because then I just have all these open-ended
I know.
plots.
That's the tough thing I'm going through right now is like how many like
It's
things I
too
want to
many.
read. I want to read so many things, but then I'm like, okay, well this one's gonna be 5 books and only 3 are out, and this one all 4 are out. But I just, it my
Yeah.
brain can only handle so much, like remember so much, and I think Bookstagram has. We should do one on series too. I just think you want to hop around so much,
Mm-hmm.
and but back in the day before Instagram or anything, you would just read one after the other because
Mm-hmm.
you wouldn't find out about things until they were out, and so you would just binge and whatever. Who cares about posting anything or
Mm-hmm.
so anyway. Yeah, lots of good. I honestly I feel more excited about books in 2025 than I did about 2024.
Yeah, I think I do too.
Like 2024, I feel like Iron Flame was the big one, but that's kind of it, right? Or no? Oh my God,
Crescent
Crescent
City.
City. Don't remind me. That yeah, no. Let's
No,
just
There
not
were
good. That was the biggest anticipation. And that was early in the year, and it was just downhill from there, obviously, as you guys know from my reading here.
we need to have a whole topic. Does the excitement mess us up? And I
Well,
think,
we'll see. We'll see. But
yeah, we'll
the
see. I feel very hopeful though. I feel very hopeful. Like the ones on my list, who's gonna mess up? I feel like these are so solid.
a lot of repeat authors, a lot.
Yes, yes, on mine, literally, I think all of these I'm excited for a reason. So
A couple I have not read, but people like trusted sources have.
trusted sources.
The Rose Bargain has no trusted sources or anything. So I don't know.
Wild card.
Watch that be like the top book of the year. I don't know. So hopefully. One book that is not on the list, so I'm not gonna like it's not officially on my list, but one that I'm keeping an eye out for is Celine Rochelle. She has
Yeah.
been posting a lot and how I don't know what she's going to do because she has kind of given the vibes like maybe she's open to doing an indie published book for her Glass Brigade book that she wrote. So I'm curious to see if this year if she chooses to go that route.
I
And
know.
if
It's
so, it's on my list. Like, I mean, obviously if it is traditional anyway, but traditional I feel like it'll be much, much longer. But
yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
curious if she chooses to do it because I saw all her whole books that she sold and she was pretty successful, like I was really excited for her. So I'm curious. My eye is on her to see if she puts out her book.
I know. For my sake, I want it to be indie so I can have it sooner. But for her sake, not that indie is not the way to go, but I know she has like
She
dreamed
wants
of
that, yeah.
like she's dreamed of traditional, and so part of me just wants her to have that because I'm like she just like imagine how happy. Anyway, I'm going down the rabbit hole. Um, but yes, I'm excited too. She has several stories going. So maybe she'll release some, maybe she'll give
Yeah.
us the scraps. I'm like just give us whatever you want to.
We'll take anything you give us. Okay, so let's get to our short list. What is coming up for you?
Okay, this was on my Amazon first reads for January, and it sounds like interesting. It is Some Other Time by Angela Brown, and I mean, all I know is that, excuse me, I'm like losing my voice. Okay, it's magical realism. It's a marriage in crisis. I'm like, my voice is in crisis. Hold on.
Goodbye.
Marriage in crisis, magical realism. They're on the brink of a divorce, and it compared it to It's a Wonderful Life. Something happens. I don't know.
Oh, interesting.
And I think it's what is the genre? It's like women's fiction, contemporary women's. So it's not like a romance, you know? It's a little different from what I typically would read, I guess. But I think it's still in something that would be interesting. So I'm excited to try that one.
Okay, on my short list coming up is The Frozen River by Aria Lohan. This has been on my list since last year, and I bought it like I bought it on Pango, and then summer came along, and then I felt weird reading it about a winter, like a heavily the cover's like extremely wintry,
Yeah.
so I felt kind of weird reading it in any other time but the winter. I don't know, and so I felt like I lost my opportunity, and so it's back on like my shelf, right, in my immediate area. I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it either. It depends on what my book club's going to do. They were talking about doing this book for February, but if they don't pick it, I'm going to read it this month, I think, because I don't want it to become spring and miss it
Yeah.
again. I'm excited about it. It's like historical fiction and a mystery, and I'm hoping it will give me like Where the Crawdads Sing vibes. I don't know that anything will live up to that, but historical fiction and mystery, I hope. Here we go. It's gonna be it.
I'm
I'm
like,
gonna
don't
hate it.
expect too high.
Don't
Don't
expect
shoot.
much.
Don't expect Where the Wild or what
Where the Crawdads Sing. I
Where the
know that's
Crawdads Sing.
expecting
Don't
too
expect that. That
much.
was like such a book you loved. Yeah, let's just
I
bring it.
know. But mystery and historical fiction, so I'm hopeful.
I have seen that one. I remember last year though, like a lot of people loved it.
Yeah, it has been on a lot of favorite lists.
Yeah.
It's not romance or fantasy, so it's not what I would usually
You'll
gravitate
have to
towards.
bring that one because I have no idea what it's about. But I have seen people talk about it, and I've always thought, mm-mm. But I think I always thought that was Kristen Hannah. Like I don't know what I was thinking.
No,
So
it's
yeah,
not like
you
that.
should bring it whenever you're done.
Yeah, I will. Okay,
Okay.
and I guess that's it.
Yeah. Let us know what you're excited about. What books are you looking forward to? What authors are you on the lookout for? Let us know.
And if you could review us, that'd be great. Unless it's bad.
We haven't gotten a bad one yet.
I know, it's coming.
I'm shocked and impressed. So if you enjoyed it and you've reviewed it, thanks. Because probably if you haven't liked it, you're not here anymore. Like,
We'll probably have to share it once we get our first like hateful review.
I know, our 1-star review.
Yeah.
We have it coming. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's fine. We'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye. If you've made it this far and didn't add this episode to your DNF pile, thanks a bunch.
That brings us to the end of this week's episode for the Don't You Two Read podcast. We hope you enjoyed hearing about our recently read books and hopefully getting to know us better as we begin this podcast journey with you guys.
We will be including timestamps in the description on every episode so you can check there for books or products that we mentioned in today's episode.
Be sure to tune in to our next episode when we will be chatting about all things books. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Don't You Two Read Podcast, and you can find me at Hannah Reads.
And I'm at Hilary Reads. If you enjoyed today's episode, would you take a moment to follow us? You can also rate and review us wherever you listen. And as always, please share this with all of your bookish friends.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Until next time, we hope you have a magical week filled with 5-star reads.